Hello YouTube viewers, welcome back to a brand new episode of Sundays with Sam, where I share easy to put together recipes with wholesome ingredients that the whole family can enjoy. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you a multi-grain pizza. It's got lentils, zucchini and one super homemade ingredient, ricotta cheese. It's crunchy, it's full of flavor and it's very easy to make. So let's get started. As always, all the ingredients and the detailed recipe is listed in the description box below the video. This recipe makes two 10-inch pizzas, but the crust is really thin. In a bowl, add half a cup of whole wheat flour, a quarter of a cup of Ragi or millet flour, and a quarter of a cup of sorghum flour, followed by a teaspoon of baking powder, a little bit of salt to taste. Now mix all the ingredients together. To the dry ingredients, add a quarter cup of cooked lentils. I always have lentils on hand in my fridge, but if you don't, you can very easily use just a quarter cup of chickpea flour. You can compensate for this by adding in a quarter cup of yogurt, and that's going to add to the softness. Grate in about 2 tablespoons of zucchini. That's just about the right amount because adding too much zucchini makes the dough really wet. To bind the mixture properly, add in about a teaspoon of flaxseed. Follow this up with a tablespoon of olive oil or any oil of your choice. Now add in some water slowly and gradually to bind the mixture together. Using your hands is the best way. The dough is going to be more soft rather than springy because it doesn't have the same amount of gluten as a regular pizza. But that's totally fine because that's what's going to give us that really crispy, crunchy pizza in the end. Just cover the dough with a washcloth and keep it aside for about 15 minutes or so. The next thing we're going to do is make our own homemade ricotta cheese. In a saucepan, add in about a liter of milk to boil. Make sure it's completely boiled before you take the next step. Once the milk is completely boiled, take it off the flame and then add in the vinegar. And keep stirring it till it starts to curdle. This is basically what it's going to look like, and this is nothing but what we call paneer chena in India, and that is ricotta cheese. Wash it at least 2 to 3 times with some cold water to get rid of that smell of vinegar. Then just set it aside. So this is what our dough looks like after 15 minutes. Just pat it into a disc and then cut it into 2 parts. Sprinkle your work surface generously with some atta because the dough is quite sticky and wet at this point, so we don't want it to stick to the surface. Just roll it out into your pizza base. And this is basically what it's going to look like. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and that's just the right thickness. You don't want it to be any thinner. Next, just poke some holes all over the pizza base with a fork and then transfer it into a cold pan. Next, on go the toppings. First some oil, followed by some tomato ketchup, some grated mozzarella cheese, and last but not the least, the pièce de résistance of this dish, the soft, fresh and flavorful homemade ricotta cheese. Next, just pop the pan on to a medium heat on your gas. Put a lid on and then just wait and watch to see when your pizza is done. It should take anywhere between 6 to 7 minutes on a medium heat. Make sure that the heat is not too high because then the crust is going to get really dark but the pizza stays uncooked. Wow, that looks really good and just exactly how it should look. You know guys, I really prefer this way of making pizza rather than putting it in an oven, which requires it to be preheated and then you have to wait a little bit longer for the pizza to get done. Try this method with the pan and believe me, you won't be disappointed. So how do you like your pizza, Myra?
It's very good.
If you guys enjoyed that video, do consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel so that I get a little bit more visibility and more encouragement. That really goes a long way for small YouTubers like me. If you try the recipe or if you have any comments or suggestions, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. So until next time, goodbye. You want to say goodbye? Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I've made a multigrain pizza without yeast or an oven.